Hi, in this video we will show you how to make delicious and easy vegan Wellington. First of all, we will show you the ingredients you need. The first thing you need is vegan puff pastry. Here is a vegan puff pastry sheet. We used half the sheet of this. It was just raw. Next you will need 200 to 250 gram of tempeh. You can also use seitan or extra firm tofu. You will need olive oil, 1 teaspoon of mustard powder. We used Coleman's English mustard, 1 to 2 teaspoons of dried rosemary or oregano, some paprika powder and salt. We used Himalayan salt. You can also use sea salt, 1 onion and 1 or 2 cloves of garlic, 4 teaspoons of stuffing mix or already prepared stuffing, 3 mushrooms. We used brown chestnut mushrooms. Next, 1 teaspoon of marmite, or alternatively 1 teaspoon of soy sauce or vegan friendly Worcestershire sauce, fresh or stale bread or toast. Finally, some vegan margarine or these alternatives. Now let's get started. First of all, you want to take the tempeh out of the package, cut it in half, as you will stack the 2 pieces together later into the Wellington. Next, put some rosemary and salt onto the tempeh. Put some olive oil into a frying pan on normal heat and quickly fry the tempeh for 1 to 2 minutes on each side. It is important not to burn the tempeh. It is already a very dry ingredient. You can also skip this point. You can just use the tempeh as it comes. Then take the tempeh out of the pan and put it aside. Now take the stuffing mix and add about 4 teaspoons into a cup. And add 5 to 7 or maybe 8 teaspoons of hot boiled water. Just mix it together and make sure it's not too liquid. Next, chop the onion and garlic into small pieces and add them into the frying pan that you have used before for the tempeh and turn on medium heat. Just enough heat to get things going, but not so much that the onions begin to brown right away. While the onion and garlic are starting to cook, cut the mushrooms into small pieces. When the onions turn translucent, add the mushrooms into the pan and continue cooking. You want the onions and mushrooms cooking down but not burnt. When they look like this, add a teaspoon of marmite or soy sauce into the pan and add the mixed stuffing into the pan and keep cooking on low heat for another 3 minutes. Mix it all nicely together. Take the pan off the heat and put aside. Next, take the mustard. We used this mustard powder. It is very strong mustard, so we only used a tiny bit. And we added some paprika powder as well. Add half a teaspoon of paprika powder. Add a teaspoon of vegan margarine or a teaspoon of olive oil into it and mix it well. Take the tempeh and spread this mustard paprika mix onto the tempeh pieces. Then take the pastry sheet out of the fridge and let it come to room temperature. Preheat the oven to 220 degrees or 200 degrees for fan-assisted ovens. Then take the pan and the ingredients out of it and put them onto a chopping board. Chop everything into smaller pieces. The mixture should not be too wet because it could leak out of the Wellington. If it is wet, add some breadcrumbs into the mix until it is a bit more firm, but not too firm. Then you want to carefully roll out the pastry sheet. Do not use a rolling pin, just carefully roll it out, however much you need. We only used half the sheet. If you have a larger portion, you can use the entire sheet. Spread the mixed mushroom, onion and stuffing mix with a spoon onto the pastry sheet. Leave about 1 centimeter or half an inch free on the corners. Take the tempeh and add it in the middle and roll the pastry over the tempeh and together until the two edges meet. Then twist the edges until it is completely sealed. To give the pastry a lovely golden brown color when it bakes, brush it with the vegan margarine or with the alternatives mentioned at the beginning. Finally, you don't have to do this, but it just looks nice. Carefully mark a pattern onto the top of the pastry. Just don't go too deep. Then add it into the oven. It takes about 25 minutes to cook. It should be ready when the pastry is golden brown. Now here it is, a delicious treat, especially for Thanksgiving or Christmas. You can serve it with some vegan gravy and some roasted vegetables. And these recipes will follow soon. Now to summarize, cut the tempeh in 2 pieces and fry for 1 or 2 minutes with rosemary. Mix stuffing with water. Cook onion and garlic until translucent and then add mushrooms. Cook down and then add 1 teaspoon of marmite and the stuffing into the pan and cook for another 3 minutes. Mix mustard or mustard powder with paprika and 1 teaspoon of margarine and spread mix onto the tempeh. Take pastry sheet out of the fridge. Preheat the oven to 220 degrees Celsius or with a fan to 200 degrees Celsius. Chop the mushrooms and onion mix from the pan into small pieces and add breadcrumbs if it's too wet. Roll out pastry sheet and add mixture into the pastry sheet. Add tempeh in the middle and form the Wellington. Brush the vegan margarine on it and put it into the oven for about 25 minutes or until golden brown.